are some days where you wake up on Grand Prix Sunday and the feeling is very different. Not because we're at a venue which has played very much a pivotal role in championships before, but rather the fact that when you wake up and you hear thundering noise and across the entire day it doesn't disappear until you reach midnight for a midnight fight around Las Vegas and still the noise remains. It's about to be reignited with noise of cars, Formula 1 cars on the streets of Las Vegas. It is time for another round of the LX7 Fantasy Series, and it takes us to Las Vegas, Nevada. You've taken a look at your circuit. This is how they line up on the grid for the 4th time this season. Nico Hülkenberg is 22nd, next to Valtteri Bottas, who goes alongside in 21st for Cadillac. Then it is Fernando Alonso in 20th, next to Sergio Perez, who starts 19th for Cadillac as well, both teammates nearer to the back. Gabriel Bortoleto is in 18th, and then it is Lance Stroll starting in 17th for Aston Martin. Behrman finds himself behind his teammate Esteban Ocon, who will go from P15. Chasing the two ahead, and their names Liam Lawson and Franco Colapinto, 14th and 13th for them. Then we find ourselves with Carlos Sainz starting next to Gasly, who's gone well around the circuit before in the LX7 Fantasy Series. And then we go into the top 10, which sees Alexander Albon next to Arvid Lindblad, who races around the circuit for the very first time. Charles Leclerc finds himself in 8th. Oscar Piastri is in 7th for McLaren. Then we find ourselves with Lando Norris starting in 6th. Max Verstappen is in P5. And your top 2 rows, you have Hadjar in 4th next to Lewis Hamilton, who's in 3rd. And as we go over to the front row, it is Kimi Antonelli next to George Russell, who starts on pole position on our run towards turn number 1. Here come the lights in Las Vegas. Let's go racing for the 4th time this season. It's time for them to crawl off the line and get ready to attack turn number 1. We make our way through with the two Mercedes side by side immediately. Kimi Antonelli versus George Russell as they try and make their way through one piece. The yellow flags are already flying somewhere else on the circuit, and it's Verstappen trying to defend from Hadjar, who's looking for the outside line as they go through the opening turns, but it is Russell leading the way ahead of Kimi Antonelli. Mercedes 1-2 at the front, still maintained, but it was very much under threat because they were getting so close together, like the Red Bulls are getting close together by the time they get to turn 4. Very close between the pair of them. Still, it is going to be neck and neck between the pair of them. We're heading to single file parts of the circuit now. Surely one of the drivers has to give an inch. It's close. It's still very close. It's Verstappen ahead. He's had the nose in front, but he's not been able to fully fend off Hadjar just yet until now. Russell, Antonelli, Hamilton, Verstappen, and Hadjar, your top 5. Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Albon, and Lindblad, who went down a place, are your top 10 as we come through to the end of sector 2 and get ready for the straight line part of the circuit. Let's see the launches off the line. Listen in. In these conditions, there's no such thing as no wheel spin, so it always becomes a case of, can you minimize wheel spin? And the 3 side by side, 3 wide. Hamilton ended ahead, then Verstappen got through in the middle, and Hadjar would be the one who would slipstream his way and try and make an overtake. As he looked to try and go down the inside, got very close between them. Just look at this, incredible stuff. Wouldn't have been easy on the Red Bull pit wall at this moment, with the amount of nerves as the two teams, as the two drivers went side by side for the team. This is Bortoleto. Listen in. Wow. Boot to the throttle. That is what you call, as I said, there's no such thing as no wheel spin. He had a lot of wheel spin. He got a great launch, but then he got hit at turn 1. I was hoping for a story of he bolted forward so many positions, but no. Unfortunately, it went backwards for the Brazilian driver after what looked such a promising launch. And then barely able to apply the power. This is Carlos Sainz. What launch is it? What type of launch is it? Looks quite level. And then he immediately chucks in, which I find very, very weird. Because, you know, you don't want to get stuck behind a car. But then he eventually comes over to the middle, and that's where he sees the Audi of Gabriel Bortoleto, which ends up getting yeeted off the road, straight on. Anyone looking for any form of overtakes as they head down towards the braking zone? Well, the Cadillac coming under pressure, that's Perez, who is lost out to Bortoleto, who's back on a recovery now. And Bortoleto is able to get on by. Let's take a look at a replay. Is it going to be some late stuff on the brakes? Yes! Brilliant car control. You don't usually expect to see too much in the wet in terms of that style of driving. As they fly by our camera, it is time for another overtake on the circuit. Bortoleto is on the attack. I remember a great drive from him in Formula 2 at Silverstone in the wet conditions. He's a driver who loves the wet conditions. He knows how to come alive in them, and he's able to make some great overtakes. This is Alexander Albon. Will be able to fight back up against Bortoleto. Pulled to the outside line. And get ready. Battle on the brakes. Incoming. Battle on the brakes easily won by Alexander Albon. And if you're on the inside, you have to kind of be careful. There's no grip off line. Sergio Perez drawing alongside Lance Stroll down towards the braking zone. Your best overtaking opportunity that you get, but if it's not resolved, you can always risk it through the next few couple of corners. That's what these two try and do, but Perez gets past. Hadjar closing in. His former team ahead, but for how much longer will that sentence be true? It's still going to be neck and neck between the pair of them. This is going to be close, so Hadjar battling with Lindblad, the new star that's coming to Formula 1. Tried to defend, tried to prove something to the bigger team, but couldn't do much in the end, and now this is tight. Behrman looking to try and risk it, critically backing out of it. It's tight in the drive, forget about the wet. And that was a huge moment of brinkmanship, and guess who's also on the back? Bortoleto. We're trying to see who is going to make a bolt in this battle, because we've been seeing them run in formation for a while. Spin, Lando Norris. How did he keep it out of the barrier? My word, Norris loses the car. The first big moment at the front of the field. It was honestly too calm at the front until Norris tried to be too eager with the throttle and lost the car as a result. But I'm still surprised how he was able to keep it out of the wall, and thank God he did. Looking to try and peer out of the spray. Around the outside, Behrman looking to try and be late on the brakes. The long way round, outside to inside. It'll be back to the outside line shortly, and he has to back out of it. And Bortoleto is on the attack. Of course he is. He gets through, and now Antonelli. Big moment coming up. Does he risk it? It's going to be so close. They're going to slide out wide, and he wasn't able to keep his foot pinned to the floor. And now that's going to leave them both vulnerable, because here comes Alexander Albon looking to get to the inside line. The Williams driver jumps. We jump on board with him. Can he try and brave it, risk it all the way round? Antonelli's going to show him the elbow. The left elbow is thrown, and he stays ahead. Let's jump on board with Bortoleto now. Can he try and do something? Can he try and be a bit of a factor? This is very much now allowing Hadjar to break away. Great bit of fighting for sixth. As we head now through this middle sector. And it's very much just a case, if you're Bortoletto, you're trying to search for when you can turn it into a traction race and when is the easiest time to get by. And look at how close he was to the wall. Look at how close he is to his rival. Not close anymore. Bortoletto is having one of the drives of his Formula 1 career so far. Just look at this. Oh, how close to the wall is that? How much more bravery. He kept his foot flat in the wet weather conditions. Oh, that is one we will replay for a long time to come. Norris getting closer. You can see that he's gaining. He's looking left, he's looking right. Now he looks left. He has to look to the right to see his rival. Lewis Hamilton there. The two Brits wheel to wheel. Will he have the place? He'll look to the right hand side. He looks in the mirror. There is no more Ferrari there. Norris through and to the final spot on the podium to join his teammate Oscar Piastri and the race leader George Russell. Norris, after getting past Hamilton, has very much had his eyes set on this second place. Piastri tries to squeeze him. Norris finds the gap anyway, finds the route. Does he find second? They apply the brakes. It's still going to be side by side, but not any longer. Lando Norris is up and through into P2. This is how the move happened. You're always going to try and minimize the room for your rival if you're Oscar Piastri. Hope that your rival can't slow it down and runs in deep, which is a likelihood in these wet weather conditions. But Norris very much survived and judged it to perfection. As we look to try and see, are we about to get our next overtake? Max Verstappen versus Franco Colapinto. The braking zone comes up. Colapinto's going to keep his foot in. Who's going to be ahead when they next come in our camera shot? It's Max Verstappen, who has got the position. And we jump on board with Franco Colapinto. He's got a bit of battery to burn. Is he going to do it? Keep his foot pinned for much more through the final corner. I don't think it's going to come to much avail. It's not going to work out for him. Bortoletto versus Hadjar. These two who fought for the Formula 2 championship. And now they're fighting in Formula 1. Bortoletto gets by. Repass attempted from Hadjar. Oh, and it's very close as we arrive down into the corner. And Hadjar comes off massively worse. Take a look at this. The overspeed that he had. Definitely utilising some of the overtake mode. And then watch this. Oh, that is so close to the apex as Bortoletto turned in. One of the most dominant performances that you will see this season and you will see in the entirety of the LX7 Fantasy Series. Had a battle at the start, said goodbye, and it's going to be victory under the lights in Las Vegas. George Russell wins the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and it is second place for Piastri and third for Lando Norris. But it's George Russell's day. What a performance from him.
Vegas, baby! Vegas!
Viva Las Vegas, baby.
Viva! Oh, boys and girls! Wow! Come on!
Well done, mate. Superb drive today.
I think he's a bit happy on the radio, it's fair to say. He's going to be loving life. Maybe not so much for Antonelli, who was all the way down in 13th. We'll confirm the full results for you in a moment. But for now, it's celebrations and it's delight for the man in P1. It's his name that has shined bright on a Saturday night party that has very much taken us into Sunday with George Russell, who finds himself victorious. Oscar Piastri in second, and Lando Norris takes third position for McLaren. Two McLarens on the podium, all 3 spots on the roster are Mercedes power. Lewis Hamilton 4th. What a performance, Gabriel Bortoleto. He beats Hadjar nearer to the final stages, who finishes in 6th. Arvid Lindblad, great drive from him in 7th. Ahead of fellow Brit, Ollie Behrman. Max Verstappen was 9th and Nico Hülkenberg in 10th. Lots of the names inside the top 10. Entertaining us, I think it's fair to say. Bar George Russell, who just decided to have a nice Sunday drive. Franco Colapinto in 11th, then Valtteri Bottas 12th. Kimi Antonelli 13th, then Lawson, Leclerc, Gasly, Sainz, Ocon, Alonso, Perez on your second page. What a contrast 2 years on for Leclerc and Gasly, having the time of their lives in a crazy battle in 2024 to now not being anywhere near the points. Definitely not near the points. Alexander Albon and Lance Stroll, who was a lap down, he finished directly behind George Russell when he came to take the flag. He was the second car to take the flag, was Lance Stroll, but unfortunately not in the way that he would have liked. That's the trophy lifted up high, and that's one that George Russell will remember. This is how your championship standings look. Charles Leclerc leads, Max Verstappen in 2nd, and Lewis Hamilton is in 3rd. Russell moves up to 4th with that performance, then Hadjar in 5th, Piastri 6th, Norris 7th, and then it's Gasly in 8th. Alexander Albon's 9th, and he's level on points with Arvid Lindblad. Hülkenberg, Alonso, Antonelli, Bortoleto, Perez, Ocon and Behrman have all scored. That doesn't apply to Liam Lawson, Franco Colapinto, Carlos Sainz. What a bad start to the season it's been for them. In the opening 4 rounds, they've got a lot to try and turn around, along with Lance Stroll and Valtteri Bottas. The same applies to them with 0 points. The team's battle very much gets closer and closer. Ferrari on 96, Red Bull on 82, McLaren on 62, and Mercedes have got a lot of work to do. It looked so promising at the start. One driver remained at the front. Antonelli fell down the order though, and it was such a big shame for them. We will see you in Canada for the Canadian Grand Prix in round 5.